This is Steve Young for the Co-Roundtable. I'd like to do a little reflecting on a recent, rather dramatic development in the stock markets in the United States, with a underperforming stock and an underperforming company called Gamestop, where all of a sudden lots and lots of small investors went in to buy the shares, and the price went up by, I think at some point, the high over 300%. Then, of course, it came back down. What does this tell us about capitalism? Well, capitalism is about markets. It's about free entry and free exit. What are markets? Markets are spaces, actually, where some people show up and they've got something to sell, and other people show up and they may or may not buy. And in these spaces, communication takes place and transactions are agreed to. I sell at a certain price, you buy, you agree to that price, you buy, I sell, and this is a market. There was a company called Robinhood, which I think can be said to have created a new market in finance. You didn't have to go through the big Wall Street firms. You could just go to an app on your smartphone, put in a stock, put in some money, and you buy the stock. The second thing that Robinhood did to create a new space for a new meeting place between buyers, investors, people who wanted to buy stock, and the shares of stock that are out there, that's the sell side, they allowed investors to buy fractions of a share of stock. So instead of having to come up with $200 for a share of company A, you could buy 10% of that for $20. This lowered your buy-in cost. This meant that the marginal cost to you was much lower, marginal utility was much lower, which also meant that the risk to you was lower and the potential rewards were higher. It induced you as a rational actor to invest. But once these kind of markets open up, if they attract a lot of customers who come to buy, and the sellers are basically few, they create asset price appreciation. And in an odd way, I was talking with a friend of mine about this, of something that happened in Vietnam when I was there in 1970, when a rumor went around that everybody wanted to buy quail eggs to eat, because quail eggs were a delicacy. And whereas chicken eggs were a dime a dozen, quail eggs weren't produced that much, and the price was going up. This rumor went all around Saigon, and a number of my wife's relatives heard about this. Everybody rushed out and tried to get connections to buy quail eggs. As a matter of fact, the actual demand for quail eggs was static. So people were not buying more quail eggs. They were running around buying the right to buy quail eggs, and the price went up and up and up, and basically almost everybody lost money after a couple of months because there was a new market was created. Capitalism works on markets. This also has a warning to us that marketplaces can be disconnected from real value because of people's expectations, because of this famous concept of the herd mentality. You tell me a narrative about something, if I believe your narrative, I'm going to rush in there and I'm going to part with my money in the expectation that your narrative is correct, and I'm going to make 20, 30, 40, 50, 100% of my money. If it turns out your narrative has no relation to reality, I'm going to lose my money. So markets, are they a good thing or are they a bad thing?